once you get to the point where you realize so much about narcissism, you're all excited, okay, and you want to share. You want to pass on the knowledge. You want to pass on what you've learned, what you've understood. I mean, you just want to share those aha moments. It's absolutely normal. But there is a little problem here, you see, and it's no surprise that the narcissistic abuse community is getting bigger and bigger, and there's more people on here sharing their stories, because we get each other. We don't judge each other for sharing our story. We don't find it weird. In the outside world, though, whether it can be your husband, your wife, it can be the other parent who is not a narcissist, it can be your children, it can be your friends, it can be your best friend, it can be your brother, your sister. When you open up to them and you try to explain, you have to keep in mind that they can't be as enthusiastic as you. For many reasons. First of all, if you're in the place where you're doing all this and you have understood that it's helping you, they can maybe not understand how is this helping you, because it's not something that would help them. What I'm trying to say is, like, the fact that you're doing all this research and you feel that it's making you feel better doesn't mean the same thing for everybody, even if they're going through the same problems. Not everybody is ready to see it. Not everybody is ready to hear it. So I do often find myself in the situation where this is ironic. It's ironic. But I find myself in the situation where I feel like I should stop. I shouldn't. Now I tell myself, you've gone a bit too far. You've said too much. You opened up too much. You've explained too much. Because you see from the other person's reaction that they are not there, they're not ready. They don't want to listen to it. It either bores them, okay, or it might also frighten them, shock them. And very often, if they're going through the same thing, they are not ready to face the truth. For them it's hard, okay, to accept that. They prefer to live in their dream world and with their ideas. For them it's more convenient. And this is, we have to keep in mind all the time, that not everybody thinks like us. Not everybody feels satisfied like us from all this research. And like I was saying, the irony is that we've been taught to shut up for so many years and not talk about the situation and not talk about what we're going through and express it really. And then you're so happy because at last, you're finding through the narcissistic community and through all this reading and everything, the power to start opening up and speaking. And again, you find yourself, putting yourself a wall, and shutting the doors and holding back, reminding yourself that, okay, enough, they're not ready, they don't want to hear it. How do you know that? Well, you know that from looks, you know that from people can make you feel that with comments, simple comments as, you're putting too much into this, or why are you analyzing this so much? Why are you trying to understand your mother or your husband or whoever, why do you need to understand? Just cut off. This is also because they maybe they don't want to go further in themselves to see also, because learning about narcissism is not only to understand the person in front of you, the person that you're dealing with. Then you realize that you start understanding more about yourself through that. Through that research, you start to understand more about yourself. You start to understand about triggers, that you have. I mean, it's your triggers, and it's your triggers are influencing other people's lives. So it's your triggers that you have to work on. So doing that work, I mean, it's a cycle. You're not only doing it for the person that is poisoning your life. You're doing at the end of the day, you're doing it for yourself. You're doing to feel better, to feel stronger, and to learn to recognize tactics and how people behave and all that. And there's some people are not ready to look in the mirror. So I mean, you have to look in the mirror at one point or another, because either the narcissistic traits have passed on, some are passed on to you, you've learned them, you've learned to work like a narcissist, you've learned to behave like a narcissist without realizing it. I mean, and these are things that you have to change in yourself too. And that's also something that could block some people, because okay, maybe they feel better blaming everything on the narcissist. Maybe they feel better saying that the problem in my life, in my couple, in my family, is all because of the narcissist, and they don't want to do any personal work on themselves. Maybe it's that, maybe. There's so many reasons why somebody would be uncomfortable around you for knowing so much, and for wanting to learn so much, and for wanting to do the work. It's exactly for wanting to do the work, because they're not ready to do the work. They don't want to do the work. They just want to leave the problem as it is, It's there, and the best thing I can do is ignore the problem, and then it will be gone. Some people believe that by ignoring the problem, it will be gone. And this is how you get people that have been no contact for 20-25 years, and then the narcissist dies, it's gone, and yet they're still there with the problem. That's because they never really faced the problem, and they never grabbed the problem by its balls, like I would say, to turn it inside down, inside out, and really analyze it and go through it, whatever it takes, whatever pain it takes, whatever anger it takes to come out of you, whatever feelings you have to let out. Okay, some people are afraid of those feelings. Some people are afraid of the sadness they're gonna feel, understanding what is happening. And so you find yourself in situations where you have people that they're going through the same thing, but they just don't want to hear it. Some people will continue on denying that their mother or their father is a narcissist, or their husband is a narcissist. They prefer to think that they are a difficult person. They prefer to continue on thinking that they're just a difficult person. And then you see these people, they go on their life. It's just, so they go through really great phases in their lives where they're very happy and everything. And then you see that there's a pattern, and every year it's the same again problem that arises, And when the problem arises, you want to tell them, okay, we're going through this again, but you don't want to hear about it. You don't want to face it, really. You just, it's like they're loving going through the same phase again and again. They're not fixing anything. So it's like one black day and the world is crumbling down and everything's fine. And then the next day there's one rosy day and, well, everything is fine. Now we've forgotten the rainy day. We're not going to speak about it again. Comments, you will hear comments like, you're putting too much into this, or you're over analyzing, or everything is always about your mother. and all that. And the funny thing is, because I have tried, I don't always get into the narcissistic mother subject straight away. I don't get it straight away. I mean, I just, when I see people, friends or whatever, family or whatever, I am capable of speaking about anything else. But there's always a point that if you don't speak about it, they ask you the question. You know, this is the funny thing, because they will at one point or another. I mean, I've tested this like a million times. It's them who are going to ask you, so what's happening with your mother? But keep in mind that they don't want to know the whole story. They don't really want to hear the whole story. They don't want to hear what, you found out, and or your enthusiasm. It's not interesting to them. They're just asking out of politeness. Because, I mean, I've even had somebody saying, after I answered, I said, oh, even if when I try to avoid it, the subject always comes on the table, It's like, yeah, I'm asking you because I know what you're going through with her. Yeah, okay, so if you're asking me because you know what I'm going through with her, well, be prepared to listen, man. Just don't cut me off with a comment like, oh, you're wasting so much time on this, or you've focused on this, or you seem addicted to this, or whatever. I know pretty well that we can get addicted to it. And, well, if being interested in learning about it and being, if it's called, it must be called an addiction, so be it. Like, call it an addiction. As long as I'm not making people around me unhappy, that's the main thing. So now, of course, if you have friends who would rather you being out partying and drinking and doing and all that, it's a difficult situation, because you have actually changed. It's not the learning that's keeping you away from that. Because even if you were not into all this, the abuse kind of either makes you want to have fun to forget, or it turns you into a more serious person, that realized that was a waste of time in my life. All this going out and drinking all the time and smoking like a chimney and all that. It was a nice waste of time. I could have done something better with my life. And so for me it's interesting to watch videos or to read about narcissism. Oh, at least it's more healthy, I think, for my body. It's difficult to explain. I don't know how many of you are going through this, and but I wouldn't be surprised that everybody here knows what I'm talking about. Through this community, you find other people that exchange, that show you that they understand what you're going through, and they understand the whole concept of doing the research, of doing the work. And we shouldn't be angry or erase our friends and family members who don't. They just don't. They're not in the same place, It's annoying sometimes, and it's saddening. At the beginning last year, I was more upset about this. When this was happening, I was more upset about it, and I was getting a little bit irritated, I got you the solution. Why are you not listening to me, It's knowledge is power, for crying out loud. Why can't you understand it? And now I'm, okay, I just take the message, I get the hints, I can tell, and I really try to keep it lower, stop talking about it. I was with a friend for 4 days, and I didn't speak about it at the beginning. I see her once a year. She asked me. And then, of course, when, it's something interesting, it's a subject that I like, so I'm going to speak about it with passion. And then I saw her getting bored about it. And then I spent a whole day with her not speaking about it again. She asked me once more, So, she asked me a question that had to do with my mother and my healing and things like that. So, I mean, they do pull you back into the conversation, whether they don't want to listen about it or whatever. They do Maybe it's because also they realize that we get to a point where we will talk about important things, really. We don't speak about, we speak more about, after I realize that I speak more about psychology in general, you know, and how people behave and why they behave, and what I've changed in myself, and how I used to be and how I am now. And it all has to do about psychology. It changes your life to realize all these things, and it changes your way of thinking, and it changes a lot your way of seeing life in general. I mean, if I was out to find a friend to go for walks with me or to do some sports, I wouldn't. They're not there anymore. It's like, let's have a drink and forget our problems kind of situation. And drinking doesn't make me feel better anymore. I don't want to hide my problems. This is the thing. I don't want to hide my problems. I don't want to push them under the pillow and ignore them. I want to face them. And this is how you become after doing the work, I believe. Just wanted to share.